Welcome, everybody, to Mud Flood Was Armageddon. The mud flood was Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they are willing to debate you in a fair and honest way. It's a privilege to have RJ, the famous Randy from Wisconsin. Are we making history tonight, RJ, with the second 1,000-year storm in 2 weeks?
Well, I don't know if we are making it, but it may be recorded as such. Be patient; time will tell.
See that?
I know these are busy times.
Not too
Certainly.
busy to get it right, though. I should have said we're not. We're living through it. We're going to be able to say we saw this in real time while other people are reading about it. But tomorrow, most people, after the drama of tonight of how bad is the storm surge going to be from this HARP steered hurricane that's hitting Florida for the second time in 2 weeks with the storm of the millennium. Second 1,000-year storm is about to hit close to Tampa.
Yeah, it's a 1-2 punch, right?
Boom. I got some stuff here. Got to show this disclaimer. I'll be showing videos tonight. And don't want any trouble down there in Australia, in Europe, or in the United States. We did have another video flag that was over a year old, RJ, something about the music in the background. So now it's not able to be shown in Bohemia or wherever that is. I didn't bother to protest it. I might have had some screenshots. So we had the market revolution. That's what I'm studying in class. Nope. No screenshots since this afternoon. Doesn't mean we're not loaded up with tons of info. Marcella will enjoy this. She's lived it like we have. And now this is what's happening. Here, can I go back a week? Was this what we were doing last week? What is this? I'm looking at these. Even with all your work on Germany, not many can make the connection, and ordinary folks are still standing with their great ally 15. Huh? Don't vote. They just renamed the Golan Heights Trump Heights. A lot of comments. I was looking for a comment I made, but they're coming so fast on this because, Ryan Hall said this would be a little rainmaker.
Change or improvement in life, you have to do it. Just giving up before I start isn't an option for me. I literally got up 4:30 this morning, went and killed a deer, went and got ruckus, went down and gutted it, drug that out of the woods, came home, skinned and quartered it. Now I'm making a YouTube video. When I get done with this,
Wow.
I'm going to get back to remodeling my house. I'll do that till about 5 o'clock, take a shower, take ruckus for a walk, and then come back and probably work on another video. So do you think
he's basically saying there is no other hope, so stop making fun of him for putting his hope in Trump?
Judge the actions of others, type a little comment, but I'm not hearing any better ideas. So anyway, 4-minute intro for a 30-second video. It turns out an Inspector General's report from August reveals that there were $7 billion remaining in funds that could be going to help the people of Appalachia, even though Alejandro said that no funds were available. And this is another person that I know exactly where his allegiances lie. But his reason for why they didn't have any funds got my attention. We're expecting another cane. Now, this was on October 2nd. We just had the worst storm.
Worries. Here we go.
Mexico, it's going to be seeping into the coastal areas of Louisiana, Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, the Florida Panhandle, and especially the peninsula of Florida. I do expect that somebody's going to get too much rain in this area. It's going to be pretty isolated.
A week ago, before they put this hurricane on steroids, that's the sexy conspiracy going around right now, the distraction. And man, they did it. They pumped it up, and now we got
2 weeks ago, they're saying this is a 1 in 1,000 year storm, but that's not enough to mobilize here because you're waiting on what is imminent.
You're waiting
And-
on another 1 in 1,000 year storm. So he talks about they did the prop wash. They caught the people that did it. They're from the North Carolina National Guard. They've been grounded. They're only given a little bit of money. And his basic thing is, without Trump, what else have we got? It's a sliver of hope, and he wants to
Talking
hang
about
on.
a bunch of country folk that ain't even worth going down and filling out the paperwork for after, compared to their entire household. And I'd have to double check this, but I think that is a loan that has to be paid back. Anyway, I'm just going to get upset getting into that part of things. So moving on,
Wrap it up.
I guess they were expecting a rapid intensification down in the Gulf. And yes, if they somehow don't get to appoint the her, then you damn right. I'm doing the only thing I can think of to do and trying to get an EO signed, making the platforms open source their algos and making it illegal to discriminate.
It's just like RJ, the man might as well be going, I want to go to the moon. I want to go to the North Pole. I want to force
Again?
I want to force those people in power to free YouTube to let us tell the truth. Red Storm, it's good to see you. It's good to see Red Storm. You know what? You don't come around enough. And see how happy people are to see you. Well, that was awkward. Hey, we're going to just study them in order, RJ. This is a circuit board. This is one of these ones I wouldn't even have had to show the thing I show to make it copyright proof.
Oh, yeah.
And swift. In fact, it was so fast of a decline that they could not even document their collapse. But they never documented their rise to power either. And get this, there is no evidence whatsoever that they had any sort of ruler or government. So who was calling the shots? Who masterminded the construction? Was it aliens? There are certain mysterious things about
You gotta go to the
Teotihuacan
aliens.
that experts the world over agree. It
Oh,
is
that's
more
loud.
than baffling. Wait till you hear this. There are astonishing similarities between the Great Pyramid at Giza and the Sun Pyramid at Teotihuacan. The Pyramid of the Sun is exactly half as tall as the Pyramid of Giza, and the Temple of the Sun, the Temple of the Moon, and the Temple of Quetzalcoatl are in the same layout as Orion's Belt, exactly the same layout as the pyramids at Giza. Every building at Teotihuacan has mica embedded in the building work.
Every building at Teotihuacan has mica embedded in the walls.
So
RJ,
is he,
why didn't you
he's
tell me that?
implying, he's implying they use the same contractor? Or what?
Well, yeah, they can molecularly trace this somehow with their intrinsic forensics. They know this is from Brazil, so they got this from 3,000 kilometers away or something. You were supposed to have told me about this kind of thing, man.
The most local source of mica is found no less than 3,000 miles away in Brazil.
Oh,
Mica is
5,000
stable when
kilometers.
exposed to electricity, light, moisture, and extreme temperatures. It has superior electrical properties as an
Did
insulator.
you ever know that little thin tape there was mica? You learn something every day. That 3-phase electric, boy, that's tough. You got to watch out with that.
And as a dielectric, and can support an electrostatic field while dissipating minimal energy in the form of heat, and is thermally stable at 500 Celsius. The fact there is no local source of mica and the fact that they imported it from so far away is just mind-boggling. How was this done?
Mine's
Why
boggled.
was this done? Now, if we were to point out the fact that Teotihuacan resembles a giant circuit board, you would say that we were crazy. But it does. With 2 large processor chips, the Sun Pyramid and the Moon
Hey, it looks like the Pleiades.
Pyramid and the underground channels that link the pyramid city are lined with electrical insulator. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
But what if it is true? What
What?
if this is a place that an alien civilization chose to leave a massive map?
How did we just jump to the aliens, man?
Well, you
RJ,
gotta check something.
he had me and he
Yeah.
lost me. So here's a little more layout.
But this looks, in a sense, real enough, you know.
Yeah, I guess you can still go visit it and go like, hey, it looks like the Pleiades if I had a balloon.
The Western Hemisphere. This remain unknown in modern society. At one point, it was the home to up to 500,000 people and had a huge urban core. Just like every civilization on Earth, the decline was swift. In fact, it was so fast of a decline that they could not even document
That's crazy.
that we are struggling to even comprehend in modern times. Along the Avenue of the Dead, the pyramids there align in perfect distance of each of the orbits of our planets in our solar system.
There they go. That sentence probably infuriated you, didn't it? If I said that, you would have been all over me.
Yeah, I was gagging, but you know, I held my. Yeah, this is similar to the nonsense of that one that I sent you. I don't know if you caught it.
I couldn't find it again. Maybe I'll look it up on the email. Yeah, because that's what this show's about, that kind of stuff. And the Seven Sisters. We haven't even got to that yet. That's kind of cool.
We don't know how it was even done. We are left to speculate its true purpose. But one thing is for sure, and that is the fact that there is much
Is that girl bothering that guy?
more to this place than we are yet to imagine. The answer could lie in the stars, the moon, or the sun, or maybe it is staring right at us and we cannot even see it.
That was a joke. Of course, she wasn't bothering him.
John's vision at Patmos. His feet were like burnished bronze, when it has been made to glow in a furnace, and his voice was like the sound of many waters. In his right hand he held 7 stars, and out of his mouth came a sharp 2-edged sword, and his face was like the sun shining in its strength. When I saw him, I fell at his feet like a dead man, and he placed his right hand on me, saying, "Do not be afraid, I am the first and the last." To the angel of the church of Ephesus write, the one who holds the 7 stars in his right hand, the one who walks among the 7 golden lampstands. As for the mystery of the 7 stars, which thou saw in my...
There's a lot of the Bible verses. Job 38, canst thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades or loose the bands of Orion? They mention it, again in chapter 9, Arcticus. That's kind of a weird planet. It's more of a reddish star, like what they called Mars.
Yeah,
Orion.
there you go. A luminary would be a better
luminary.
description.
The Pleiades and the chambers of the south, which I don't know much about. Seek him that maketh the 7 stars and Orion. You're gonna know so much about the 7 stars tonight. You're gonna be one of those borderline guys that are dangerous. It's like, oh, you're dangerous. Just enough information. I don't know how they ever came up with that, but somehow here we got the 7 stars in his hand. One who holds the 7 stars. What's she yapping about?
that had 6 sisters. They were at a well caring for their father's flock. Her father was the priest of Midian and had no sons. The 7 sisters were being chased and harassed by some young men when Moses came upon the scene. And
the some young men has morphed into the Greek, Egyptian, and Australian pantheon as the hunter. It's the hunter that's in the. There's a constellation called the hunter, I guess.
And rescued them. After some time, Jethro the priest gave his eldest daughter, Zipporah, in marriage to Moses. The name Zipporah means a bird. The heavens have played out this exact story in Greek mythology as well. In this mythology, Orion was harassing the 7 daughters of Atlas. Atlas was the titan that supports heaven on his shoulder, who is a type of priest. Orion was in love with the 7 sisters. He chased them across the planet. Zeus intervened and turned the 7 sisters into 7 doves to escape the giant hunter Orion. Zeus granted the 7 sisters immortality and placed them as the 7 stars, the Pleiades. This is why in the constellation.
What do you got from that, RJ? That's kind of weird, huh? So this is just
Yeah,
a
it's
background.
fairly imaginative. Yeah.
They had, well, that Satan considers that a compliment because usually, people's, they have like Star Wars, the Empire. They think they're not creative with their stuff. So, but once they have that good idea, they stick with it. Temple builder.
Built temples and pyramids all seem to point towards the constellations in the zodiac of Orion, Taurus, and the Pleiades, including the Temple of the Sun in Mexico. Nearly every Native American tribe also has a myth around creation and speak of the 7 stars of the Pleiades.
Now, RJ, if the Bible's true, and I assume you still think it is, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
they spread out these people with their confused languages, and they all end up building pyramids of some sort that track the zodiac and end up making, jumping ahead, going like, oh, it's going to involve an innocent sacrifice. Well, let's find an innocent sacrifice. And sometimes they put the virgins on the volcano. Sometimes they throw them in the lake when they're painted blue. Or anyway, they find a sacrifice that's innocent, and they think they got to figure it out. And we're not supposed to believe that that's what the Bible talks about. It's like, hey, they wanted to build one. They couldn't agree because God confounded their languages, and now they split up and kept working on it. What's the problem with just going like, wow, yay, Bible, let's praise the Lord?
Yeah, confusing the language was effective as far as that, but it didn't change the way they were thinking. Just they weren't able to communicate,
Yeah, and it seems like
verbally.
they had like micro differences. Well, our pyramid should be pointy. No, it should be a step pyramid. Well, it should be made out of granite and fill. No, it should be made out of earth, pure earth. Yeah. So this goes on and on anyway. So we're established that there's something going
Commission
on.
Visited the Devil's Punch Bowl in November
Oh, it's out of
1863
order.
and wrote an appeal to President Lincoln regarding the condition of the formerly enslaved Black Americans. Yateman had written thus: 75 died in a single day. Some returned to their masters on account of their suffering. Despite the tedious and backbreaking jobs that were assigned to them, they were usually killed on a daily basis. At least a record of 20,000 deaths of men and women were recorded in a year.
Wow.
Without any hint of remorse or sympathy, the Union troops continued to mistreat these Black Americans, not giving them any chance to leave the camp, not even to bury the dead. The dead were buried wherever they dropped, as commanded by the troops, and embark a mass relocation to where they had thought would be better and peaceful for them, only to meet the cruelest of fates there, mistreatments they never did face even when they were slaves. In this video, we are unmasking to you a sad history which has been so hidden that you most likely have never heard of it, one so dark that it takes you where forgiveness cannot be found. Before we continue, do kindly support our work. Hit the thumb button, share with friends. Varieties of tales.
Got freed in 1863, and they didn't know what to do with them, so they let them join the army, do the sharecropping. The Devil's Punch Bowl was just something that was
acquiring
supposedly like the first concentration camp. We might bump into that later.
With over 30
this isn't out of order. This is just, we're building on things here.
million tons produced each year. It's clear. Sometimes humans like it when their food is painful. Yes, peppers today are used in so many forms in so many foods that it would actually be a challenge to avoid them completely. But how did we get to this point? Where did peppers come from, and how did they take over the world? Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Fire of Learning's History of Food and Agriculture series. Thank you for joining us as we tell the story of peppers. Where did peppers come from in the first place? Peppers likely originated in northwestern South America.
Likely.
By the time of human arrival, they had spread out across much of South and Central America.
Boom. Assume evolution, monkey boys, and now they like pepper.
And diversified into numerous different species. Evidence suggests that humans were eating wild peppers by at least 7500 BC. Cultivation, or farming, appears to have begun around 5000 BC, making them one of the first plants domesticated in America as well. The first peppers were small, red, round, berry-like fruits. Human farmers would develop them into the many varieties we see today over the course of millennia. The spice is simple enough, but the terms start to change outside of America, even in other English-speaking countries, in ways that lead to confusion. Civilizations such as the Maya, Aztecs, and Incas highly valued chili peppers and seem to have seen.
This is a swastika type symbol here, a meander. So the peppers went all over the world. I want to, we're going to come back to this exact video, but RJ, it is time to, half a dozen people here, let them get settled on one thing. Because people they find remnants in archaeology of, well, they didn't have this, they didn't have that, they only had bow and arrows, they didn't have guns, does not mean they didn't know what a gun was, didn't mean they didn't know what a sword was. There were times in the Bible when the people of Israel were conquered by the Philistines and they weren't allowed to have blacksmiths. They weren't allowed to deal with metal. They could make bows and arrows, but no. There were only, the Bible says there were only two swords, King Saul and his son Jonathan. That it doesn't mean that while these people could make swords and guns, these people were close to being monkeys.
Yeah, in a sense. I mean, the sword pretty much implies hand-to-hand combat, where a bow and arrow you don't really associate, at an arm's length either. But yeah, it is strange. But yeah, those are facts. You're listing.
Yeah,
some
the hunting with bow and arrows is right there. That's number. That would be needed because they took away your swords and you're not allowed guns because you're a rebellious people. You keep trying to take them over whenever you get guns. That's one reason you would keep a population unarmed. They're probably going to wish after this flood and this election, and I think that the midterm of next election, when the really that poop hits the fan situation goes, they're going to wish there weren't so many guns in the United States. I think they're trying to take them out right now. A little bit more about peppers. You'll find it interesting.
Seasoned essentially as much food as they could with them. They were not only used as food, though, but also as a medicine for various ailments, such as headaches, indigestion, and cleaning wounds. In the Inca Empire of modern-day Peru and Chile, no relation, they were used as a currency in some cases.
Wow,
Chili peppers were used by some tribes in Brazil to ward away evil.
Brazil's, I wonder if you could trade Micah for it. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. This is part that you could tell people like this part.
Assumed that capsicums had originated in India or China because of how popular they would become there. By the 17th century, the Nahuatl or Aztec word for the fruit, chili, was used to distinguish these peppers from black.
If Columbus would have had peppers, the China would have come looking for him to get them. That's a new thought.
Pepper. The black pepper
is not. Go ahead.
The black pepper you find next to the salt is not related to capsicum peppers at all. It comes from a completely different family of plants native to southwestern India. However, the compound in black pepper that makes it spicy, piperine, is similar.
I was told when I was in North Las Vegas, when my dad was working on the test sites there, and we were watching the Blue Angels practice every day, in our little trailer park that the black pepper was one of the reasons because that people traveled the world because they were only looking for spices. They left out that they were looking for gold and silver, but it was pretty much peppers that seemed to be their story that they're sticking to.
Plans. But then they massively expanded their range as a result, far more than birds, so it all worked out. For those of you wondering, though, yes, this does mean that if you were ever mugged by a parakeet, pepper spray may not be an effective defense. There are 40 species in the genus Capsicum, of which 5 are domesticated. Most peppers of which people are aware, such as jalapeno, bell, banana, cayenne, and cherry, belong to the species Capsicum annuum. Tabasco peppers to Capsicum frutescens, and many of the hottest of all peppers, including Pepper X, which replaced the Carolina Reaper as the hottest pepper in the world in 2023, to Capsicum chinense. So
basically, these jalapenos and peppers have taken over the world, and it's all brand new. Just in the past 20 years, they can do anything they want with peppers. They will kill you with a pepper. What's this? Looks like he's about to jump the broom.
People to North America, chili peppers were sometimes brought along with them. African slaves continued to grow them in the New World and made them familiar.
So that's how they got spread all over the world.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome back. Thank you.
This is weird. And Jared Boosters is one of the guys that came out of nowhere, grew big, but he came out right about the time of Paul Cook. Anybody remember Paul Cook? He thought he was going to be a big deal. Wonder who's going to be the first guy talking about it on TV. This is an excellent video where we can't watch it all, but the first globe Earth has some weird crap. If you hadn't seen this, I want you to see it, RJ.
Thank you for being here today. Let us take a deep dive into the first physical globe Earth model ever created in our historical timeline. The Earth apple, or in German, Erdapfel, is the oldest surviving terrestrial globe ever created, measuring roughly 20 inches in diameter, or very similar to the globes we see being produced and placed in classrooms today, which is remarkable that the understanding of our planet hasn't really changed all that much over the last 500 years. The Earth apple was completed or founded around 1492, coincidentally the same year Columbus would sail the ocean blue and reach the New World.
That's what they call a coincidence, which you can go to the drugstore and buy. It's in the shelf next to luck and chance. Go ahead, brother. See how this map turns into a globe? It's made on these panels, but it's projected into a globe. America is not on it. The United States, I should say, to be more precise. Weird.
Minor anomalies of this globe. The entirety of this globe Earth map, the actual cartography of the map, was based off the travels of Jorge de Aguiar. A quick Google search will show you that almost nothing is known of Jorge's life, besides the fact it was his adventures, his descriptions, his discoveries, which led to the Earth apple's cartography. Jorge himself
This is fairly intriguing, huh?
to imply that the Holy Roman Empire was unwilling to address the existence of America, even though substantial reports of the Western landmass had already flooded Europe previously. Another aspect of history, excuse my tangent here, which often is brought to the limelight through historical research, is the fact that many aspects of history are covered up or covered over simply by other facets of history, whether it be people, cities, objects, events, claiming the same name at a later date. In most of Europe, especially in German-speaking countries, Erdapfel is the modern common name.
I found this too, that you go to look up something and they've made a movie about it, or some guy, and it's a famous soccer player from Europe that everybody loves in the whole world that we've never even heard of. they cover it up. We just have to keep pushing on. Fairly interesting stuff. This looks like that Red Sea map that
on the Earth apple, far off the coast of Northwest Africa in the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, it is.
The island in this myth was discovered by St. Brendan, accompanied by 14 monks who landed on the island with him. The 15 of them stayed for 15 days, celebrating Mass before returning to the
more Roman Catholic nonsense.
referred to officially as, and I quote, the Isles of the Blessed and the Island of St. Brendan, end quote. To wrap up, this is
Yeah, he kind of got into this a little bit too long. What do you got up here, Jared Booster?
tale was another mythical landscape known as the Island of the Jewel. We're told the Island of the Jewel formed the eastern limit of the known world according to Islamic scholars of the Middle Ages, and the Island of the Jewel was said to be a rather small island that was rich in gold and sapphire, which was surrounded by
Gee whiz. What is this even going on about?
dome shape, at least according to this legend. Of the scholars who described some form of flat earth in the ancient world also included Hesiod. The ancient Norse, Viking, and Germanic traditions also believed that the earth was flat, with the earth surrounded by a great ocean, with the axis mundi, or celestial pole, being the Yggdrasil, the world tree. In this theory, the world encircling ocean was also occupied by the Jormungandr, the great sea dragon. In ancient China, from the beginning of time that's recorded through the 17th century, the Chinese universally believed the shape of the earth was flat and square, while the heavens above were.
I don't know about that square. What about that's a new one? I was kind of like this.
Of a round earth, a concept that was later pushed on the mainstream by none other than Aristotle. Aristotle also made the first prediction of the circumference of the earth, and his beliefs were made.
Yeah, and they propped the Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, then Alexander, and everything's figured out. And Jesus is white to them, like
the
that.
globe
He
itself.
looks like
He
that.
is considered depicted as the savior of the world. We're told the idea of holding the world in one's hand ties back to ancient Rome, where the god Jupiter was often depicted holding the globe, representing both the world and the power held by the Roman Empire.
So the pantheon, and this really is, we're going to talk about the seven sisters. Is it really six? But I love it. People, we're still getting and people could show the canals and how weird they are. And, there's something going on. Flat Earth. Wow. We have the answers, people. We just, well, RJ, that was a momentum killer, because right now there was supposed to be a video about the seven sisters ready to play, and it wasn't there. What do you got? Oh, you're not going to fill in. The seven sisters, the Pleiades. Why would that be brought up in the Bible? I mean, it's not brought up a lot, but there is something to it.
Well, it isn't like it's not there and it's some sort of fictitious. I mean, as far as what you're able to see in the firmament, that doesn't mean you know exactly what it is, but the luminaries exist.
And they're easy to find. They're easy to spot.
And
everybody,
this, in the past, the oldest book, Job, as far as what's in the Bible. Yeah,
let's get a breakdown
on that. Wasn't new news, that they were, the narrative in the scriptures done. So,
The
a
Subaru
topic
thing,
we'll discuss.
yeah, the Subaru one is going to be brought up too. One of the first times I've ever heard of, people healing themselves is when I visited. I was actually dating the singer Donovan's maid until I found out she was married. And she was taking capsaicin from cayenne peppers and putting it in gel caps and feeding them to her and her children and stuff like that at the time. So that was 1978, 79. Jared reads. Yeah, I don't, but this one, TC, it seems like it was right on time because we're going to be looking at some Wikipedia on these things.
by connecting these two different sets of myths. Let's understand a little bit about this star cluster. The Pleiades star cluster, also known as the Seven Sisters or Messier 45, is an open star cluster containing middle-aged hot B-type stars in the northeast of the constellation Taurus.
Wow.
It is among the star clusters nearest to Earth and is the cluster most obvious to the naked eye in the night sky. Its distance to Earth is 444.2 light years. Professed contactees describe them as being over 6 to 7 feet tall, or roughly 2 meters, with long blonde hair, cetaceans. And the Pleiadians themselves are viewed as...
The majority of people are going to believe this, RJ. They are, it leaves them judgment free. They don't have to, they can kick that can down the road. They don't have to worry about, is it creation? Is it evolution? It's the aliens, man. That's why the Anunnaki, the Atlantis movement that's taking over Pleiadians in the Bible. This must be a song. Hey, turn it down. So get a little background. We'll see what the Wikipedia says. So Orion the hunter was chasing them. They cried out for help because they didn't want to marry him. Turned them into stars. After first doves. But the thing is, count them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What's going on? Where are the 6? Where are the 7? All right. The world's oldest story, the sisters and the hunter. Greek mythologies, Pleiades were the 7 daughters of the Titan Atlas. And again, the Australian Aboriginal astronomy, Orion the hunter, 7 sisters fleeing. That's a long way, the Egyptians and the Greeks. So let's look. Australian Aboriginal astronomy has been passed down orally, what they are saying, from anywhere from 100,000 years to 1,400 years ago, through ceremonies in their artworks of many kinds, calendars, navigating across the continent. It's its own particular expression of cosmology, which seems to match the Egyptians, the Greeks, the Romans, the Etruscans. Same thing, Pleiades, Orion, their Milky Way. Once again, that's one of RJ's favorite candy bars. He can't wait until they're made with non-GMO ingredients. He'll probably eat 2 or 3 a day. I know I love them too. Anyway, they call it the emu. in Australia, the Seven Sisters. So we're looking at that same thing, the Wikipedia, used everywhere, emu in the sky, canoe in Orion, but it's still traveling, the hunter. I'll be honest, the Southern Cross is kind of a weird one. Well, there you go. There's a commemorative coin, and that's kind of a weird looking coin to me. New one on me. Not that there's anything wrong with that. We'll be looking at this cataract. That's another one, because isn't that a part of the Australian Aboriginal stuff? What else have we got? Here's that cataract. Not too much is said for, the connections that could be made. Wikipedia could be going like, wow, it's the same thing about here in the middle of nowhere, about sisters swept into the sky and their fire sticks become the Pleiades star cluster. After some digging around with snakes and an ant mound thing, you would not believe what the Native American stories can come up with what coyotes and foxes and bears can do with their mischievous ways. It's no end to the imagination with those people. Hey, look, there's a picture of them holding up the Seven Sisters. They got a whole thing going on there. They passed it down orally for 100,000 years, RJ.
Okay.
It's a long, long time. Considering that, lots happened since I was born in 1958. Almost everything,
So did they name them?
Yeah, they Pleiades, Orion, and everything. Actually, we'll get into their names. I don't want to look at Bridget yet, the three-headed god of the Irish people, just because the Irish people are hooked on anything Trinity. So what is the Seven Sisters? Well, everything is the Seven Sisters in the whole world. Where do we even start? It's like the seven hills. You get into that. It's like the seven hills of Rome, the Pleiades, Greek mythology, the Pleiades. I guess we just have to go to the Pleiades. Nymphs. That means they like to run around naked, and the seven sister nymphs, companions of Artemis.
So do they connect it to the seven lampstands, or
no? Imitations of. But we all read in the Bible where for 2 hours, because they were burning books of what, and then they were, great is Artemis of Ephesus. So they love their, like Columbia, the female gods, Matilda, this one, all of them. So they have them, and even have them ranked on who was the prettiest daughter. They were all super pretty, but this one here, the oldest, Maia, she was the prettiest. Oh, nymph alert. They used to like to draw the pictures of the nymphs' butts, just to say, but I had to, because nymphs were always, I had to draw it like I felt it, man. Okay. The Pleiades were seven mountain nymphs, daughters of Titan. Their leader was Maia, the mother of Hermes by Zeus. 5 of the other Pleiades, now that means 6, keep that in mind, were also loved by gods, becoming ancestress of various royal families, including those of Sparta and Troy. They're bringing it down to the real world real quick now, because remember, I'm Spartacus. Come on, and Troy and the Hurricane Helen that caused all of their troubles because she was so beautiful, he had to have her. So what is this? Some old encyclopedia from back in the day. Some call the seventh, which they can't see because six are only visible. They don't know where the seventh is invisible, which would mean it's not visible. Some call the seventh stereo and relate that she became invisible from shame because she alone among the sisters had. There you go, your Nephilim hunters. It all comes back to the Greek god thing, man. That's why they love it. That's why they have to have it. That's why they needed Enoch and all of the extra biblical anti sola scriptura. RJ, I need to get a drink there. I almost needed the Heimlich maneuver.
Well, can't help you there.
No. True story. I was eating some Doritos back when I ate Doritos, and one of them got stuck right in my windpipe to where it's like it just perfectly closed it. I was going like, I couldn't breathe anything in or out. And my kids were like between 6 and 2. I had 4 children between 6 and 2 years old, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't want them to see me die. Because it had gone on like 30 seconds by now. And I can only hold my breath for 2 minutes. So you know what I did? I put the Heimlich on myself and then just left my feet and landed on the bathtub rim and popped it out. You can Heimlich yourself. So that
if you're physically capable of, doing that for once.
Yeah, I don't know if you need a bathtub rim or if you could just throw yourself on the ground, but do something. Don't die.
Yeah,
Choose
hopefully
life.
you're not wheelchair bound at the time. But yeah.
Somebody should be watching them if they're getting fed in a wheelchair. That'll be our job, just how we're going to take care of these old people. Okay, we covered the intercourse with a mortal man. That's where the clown Nephilim false doctrine came in. Going to keep moving on. I got a 5-day weekend, RJ. They gave us 2 days off, Thursday and Friday. No classes, so I can work on the rocks. Oh, this United States Sanitary Commission. This is like the Red Cross. And earlier I showed that one town that got built up with the freed slaves and then they killed them all and they call it the first concentration camp. That was called that's called an internet conspiracy where it wasn't as bad. Yeah, it just wasn't as bad. But one of the guys from these type of the United States this was the Western States Sanitary Commission. They were in charge of monitoring charities, and they were the Greenpeace, hopefully the good guys of everything of today. And they were a real organization, and they're the ones who send a letter to President Lincoln saying, look, they're killing 20,000 people here in a concentration camp, and we were supposed to have freed them with your Emancipation Proclamation. And now it's become with Wikipedia, basically nothing to see here.
So it's sanitary or insanitary commission?
Yeah, I wonder how, the words must have meant something different back then. But they were in charge of pretty big budget. Ohm's Law, Florence Nightingale, George Templeton Strong, all these famous people, they were involved with helping it raise money. It's how they first got the, people like better than FEMA. These people showed up at the battles of Bull Run right there. And then they said, you know what? We should set up a charity and do this for a living. And they did. And then they're the ones who said, wow, there's 20,000 blacks getting killed that just were freed. They want to go back to their master because they're dying. They said, no, man, you're free now. So everybody's heard of her. She was in on that charity. Maybe you know some of these other people. I don't. This guy.
Yeah, when it comes to that cellular nonsense, that one I sent you today was quite fresh. What he was allegedly forecasting for the next, I don't know, couple days.
Oh. Okay. So here it is. This is what they say about it in the Wikipedia. The Devil's Punch Bowl, in order to house a large number of former slaves, the Union Army created a refugee camp, not a concentration camp, known as the Devil's Punch Bowl, a natural pit surrounded by bluffs so they couldn't escape. Many of the formerly enslaved there died of starvation, smallpox, and other disease. It has been suggested over 20,000 people. However, the scale of the tragedy has been disputed by multiple historians. They don't know, blah, blah, blah. Could just be Confederate propaganda. Inflated it by tenfold. So only 200? That would be
the stories, you can change the intensity as far as how you I guess enthusiasm, how you tell it, maybe, or something.
We're back to Bernadette Dorns. There's your sexy terrorist that ended up picking Barack Obama to be the president. Let's face it, man. She'd be this girl on campus right now. She could do about anything she wanted. You know, that's just the way it is with some women. RJ, I'm going to look up that one video you sent me.
Because I had a comment right above the link.
Which one? The massive solar storm, seed oil converts to plastic?
No, the solar storm one. Didn't I have a comment about how did I word it? This guy
this guy
has his head so far up his behind or something that it's difficult to I don't know, understand.
It's difficult to understand his speech because he looks like like he's trying to do an imitation of a lumberjack or something, you know.
Boom shakalaka! Breaking news. We just had one of the...
In a way. Am I sharing?
You are now.
Significant solar flares yet in solar cycle 25. Blast off from the sun and exactly from Earth's bullseye. It launched...
Yeah, bullseye. Exactly where it needed to be.
In how recent was this? Like a couple days ago, but he's
I'm a lumberjack and he's okay. We'll have to go to the YouTube channel to find out how long ago this was. This was today, brother.
8-0, yeah. Okay, I thought it was current. Yeah.
There's a geomagnetic curving right at us. Today. We're all going to die.
And he ties in the hurricanes.
This hurricane?
Or Milton, anyhow.
This is what's happening now with our boy Max Velocity. I started watching Max when he had about 10,000 subscribers on February 4th, when the prophecies were coming in about, wow, this year we're going bankrupt, folks. And now he's got 500,000, and he's still in meteorology. He's doing all of this while he's studying to be a meteorologist at graduate school. He's getting his master's degree or doctorate in the meteorology. He's cool. He's been awake now, I think. Anyway, he's been streaming for a darn long time.
Back to
4 hours ago.
Yeah, we do have a flash flood emergency again for Clearwater, Tampa, St. Petersburg. All those areas at this point have seen 10 to 15 inches of rainfall. And we're going to continue to see a lot of rain here over the next several hours, especially across central and western Florida. As the eye of Hurricane Milton continues to move inland, it is still, again, a hurricane, and it will be at least a Category 2 hurricane on this next update. The National Hurricane Center will have a new update on Hurricane Milton in approximately 6 minutes.
Now, what Max is saying, that it doesn't help. Well, intuitively, I was thinking it would help to go from a 4 to a 2. But he's saying all that does is spread out the rain. The damage is done once it storm surges. We'll come back to Max in a minute. Where's that other one? This guy, he's the lumberjack and he's okay. He works all day. Plays all
A
night.
coronal mass
and he
ejection
works all
out
day.
into space, a gnarly looking
Gnarly.
CME. We are ready in an S3.
You want to go ahead? You can break this down for me, RJ. I didn't quite understand it.
Like I say, it's so much nonsense that he's, you know, if he's trying to contribute to some sort of extra, implying that it's not needed, fear factor, BS. Or I mean, go ahead, believe whatever you want, but
This is the ultimate. It's the ultimate fear factor BS.
I mean, he's got the animation, that verifies, everything he's explaining.
Look at the
real.
precision before we get into this. Is just whetting your appetite for useless charts.
Earth Geophysics, and I provide regular energy updates for our planet here on this channel. So if you like the sound of that, then smash that subscribe button. Join the Soul Tribe. Here is our chronograph, so we can see all these crazy coronal mass ejections that the sun has been launching. Here's the first one right there. Then we had a plasma filament launch. Both of those are expected to impact the Earth to some degree. And then we see this most recent Earth direct bullseye coronal mass ejection that then triggered that S3 proton radiation storm, which we are in right now. We'll see that really clearly with all the circles that show up on our chronograph at the end. Those are protons hitting the sensor there.
So anyway,
so you can see just how
explain all of that, you're going to
and so we
need
did
to
see a rapid
understand
intensification of Hurricane Milton from category 2 to 5 right after this pulse of geomagnetic activity that we had in this solar energy coming in a couple days ago. Now we see even more solar energy coming in with these 3 different solar storms that are going to be sweeping by.
RJ, I thought it was HARP steering it, but no. It's a perfectly timed solar flare.
Yeah, I've seen enough, heard enough. I'm just saying, yeah, you don't have to go too far to find the nonsense. It's everywhere.
You got it. This is 10:10. This today, folks. 8 hours ago. Calm down. It's not being steered by a foreign power or even our own. Maybe we're doing it to ourselves. I would assume it'd be Russia or China, right? Not America doing it to ourselves.
I didn't even check. What does he have for subscribers or whatever, or this channel? I mean,
hey, he got a lot.
Oh, really?
100,000.
Lots of comments, huh?
Yeah, this chart makes no sense. I guess break it down. Go,
It reached
Stefan.
G3, and now we have not 1, not 2, but 3 different solar storms that are going to be kind of combining in interplanetary.
He's an actor.
Yeah, well, we're coming up near an hour here.
Huh?
I say we're coming up near the hour mark. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that I mean, what else can we say, ladies and gentlemen? I mean,
be patient. Yeah.
Look at the Pantheon. Look at what they're studying. Go back over this video and think about the Tower of Babel. And isn't it possible that the Bible is true and the one thing you're missing in your life is what, for some reason, you won't do? You won't get down on your knees and confess that Jesus Christ is Lord because you believe it in your heart. You say it out loud. Call a friend. I believe that Jesus Christ died for my sins. That is a sign that you will not be blotted out of the book of life. Anything you want to add to that, RJ? Because we'll be back probably in the morning, Lord willing.
Yeah, other than, the sweet dreams, but yeah, stay safe, stay informed.
Have you ever had a time where you were really choking, RJ? TC, I think he gets it, man. Because it is one of the scariest things when you can't breathe, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, other than maybe like a dream or something, which seems real enough at the time.
Like a
Maybe,
man who dreams that he's eating and wakes up hungry. That's one of those false hope situations the Bible warns about. Wow. Sergio said it does remind him of the sisters of Ariel. The Disney is all over it. They're using it. The Seven Sisters ties into all the civilizations that tried to make their capital on seven hills. Give us some time and we'll get to it.
Wasn't there a musical of Bright or something about Seven Sisters? Right?
Oh, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. It has one of my, that was one of my favorite song and dance movies growing up. Howard Keel. It talks about the biblical. I'm going to show a clip of it, man. When they're dancing on the planks, because I mean, all of a sudden they're kidnapping sisters.
But yeah, it was a long time ago, for sure. When it was released, I didn't see it when it was released, but I seen it after.
Yeah, we saw it on the TV because everybody. Let's be honest here for 1 second.
But I mean, it's like a Broadway where you can, because I think I seen it maybe down at Fort Atkinson at that dinner theater.
Yeah, my wife and I had subscription at Lincolnshire for the theater and around there. We've seen every play, but look at how they even have it when you search. All I had to do was put in Seven Brides, and it knows that you want the kidnap scene, you want the sobbing women. I mean, all of these, but no, it's the brothers' barn dance. This is what we were taught. They settled the West.
Come on, everybody, get your partners. There's going to be dancing.
I can dance because my sister was a bully. She was in charge of the sock hops, and if I didn't dance every dance with a different girl, she would beat my ass when we got home. But anybody can dance. If you can count to 4, you can dance. What? This is in the middle of a movie, 6 minutes early. When you weren't building star forts out west, you're dancing on wood. So this is back when men were men.
Take them, Dan. Roll, man. Come on, Dan. Go ahead, shoot, Dan.
We used to do that all the time. Indian wrestling is what we call it. Indian arm wrestling. Yeah, we've been going at it for an hour. We got it. We're not going to solve all the problems of the world today. I just wanted to, it would have been nice if that world was true. And true confessions, RJ, my big brother's only a couple of years older than me. He didn't really meet President Lincoln. So we actually saw all this crap in real time, everyone. The world changed, man. Right here. Flat Earth Nation. Gold Age is past because the mud flood was Armageddon. That's why me and my friends will never tell you anything else. Why would we? We've been called, chosen, predestined to have your best interest at heart and tell you the truth. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. I can't find my mouse. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Naka